1984 had Newspeak. We have Bush speak. Rhetoric designed to obfuscate reality and to quell dissent. 1984? No, I meant Bush speak. In our third story in the countdown, the country was treated to a full 45-minute dosage of it this morning. The president holding a news conference to once again reiterate his own version of events. The surge in Iraq is working. The Iraqi government is making political progress. America is not headed towards a recession. And, of course, Democrats are trying to kill us all by refusing to give telecom companies immunity.
At issue is a dispute over whether telecommunications companies should be subjected to class action lawsuits because they are believed to have helped defend America after the attacks of 9/11.
The telecommunications companies are believed to have helped the government spy on Americans after 9/11? Mr. Bush is back to believed, not known. Earlier this month, he had finally admitted they had helped. Oops, oh no, he's back to known now. And back to that stuff about it was legal, but it was the kind of legal for which you still need immunity just like it wasn't legal. This was 20 minutes later.
It was legal. And now, all of a sudden, plaintiffs' attorneys, class action plaintiffs' attorneys, you know, I don't want to, try to get inside their head. I suspect they see, a financial gravy train are trying to sue these companies.
Aside from the fact that it was the Republicans in Congress who refused to cover any losses that telecoms might suffer in court, the president just accused American Civil Liberties Union lawyers who are seeking to protect the liberties enshrined in that Constitution thing of being money-grubbing trial attorneys. And what about the rights that they're trying to protect?
You can get the Congress to protect telecom companies from lawsuits, and there's no recourse for Americans who feel that they've been caught up in this. I know it's not intended to spy on Americans, but in the collection process, information about everybody gets swept up and then it gets sorted. So if Americans don't have any recourse, are you just telling them when it comes to their privacy to suck it up?
I wouldn't put it that way if I were you in public, Bill. I mean, you've been around long enough to... Anyway, yeah.
I think I'm going to send Bill Plant a candygram. Of course not on that point. You can't publicly tell the American people to suck it up when you take away their civil liberties. You can only publicly scare the pants off them so they acquiesce to what you want to do.
Allowing the lawsuits to proceed could aid our enemies, because the litigation process could lead to the disclosure of information about how we conduct surveillance, and it would give Al-Qaeda and others a roadmap as to how to avoid the surveillance.
The president evidently already forgetting that classified materials such as, surveillance techniques will not be publicly divulged in a trial if it is even allowed in at all, even though Scooter Libby's lawyers use that defense at every turn. The only aid such proceedings might give would be to Bush's political enemies, who could use telecom evidence to prove that the administration also broke the law. As to the highly unlikely hypothetical that telecom companies will stop helping the government entirely,
without the cooperation of the private sector, we cannot protect our country from terrorist attack.
Of course, a week ago tomorrow, they all lined up and decided to continue their cooperation anyway. But you cannot protect this country? Then what the hell are we paying you for?
Some in Congress have said we have nothing to worry about because if we lose the cooperation of the private sector, we can use the old FISA law. Well, they're wrong. FISA was out of date. It did not allow us to track foreign terrorists on foreign soil quickly and effectively.
Would you please read the memos? Open your mail. That claim has been vigorously disputed by the chairman of the House and Senate Intelligence and Judiciary Committees. They wrote a joint op-ed this week that read, quote, "In an emergency, the NSA or FBI can begin surveillance immediately, and a FISA court order does not have to be obtained for 3 days. When U.S. agencies provided critical intelligence to our German allies to disrupt a terrorist plot last summer, we relied on FISA authorities. Those who say that the FISA is outdated do not appreciate the strength of this powerful tool." Senator Pat Leahy going even further. He compared the president playing politics with national security to a little child playing with matches.
No renewal of the Patriot Act, the Protect America Act, is dangerous for the security of the country. Just dangerous.
Whatever it's called. As to what else is dangerous, the president once again accusing Democrats of putting the country at risk because of their policy about Iraq.
Congressional leaders are still sounding the same old call for withdrawal. I guess you could say that when it comes to pushing for withdrawal, their strategy is to stay the course. If we follow their advice a year ago, Iraq would be far different and more dangerous place than it is today. And the American people would be at greater risk.
Speaking of international risks, our own chief White House correspondent David Gregory checking to see if the current occupant knows any more than his potential successors about developments in Russia, and coming up short.
The Democratic candidates, when asked about the new Russian leader, Dmitry Medvedev, didn't appear to know a great deal about him. I wonder what you can say about it.
I don't know much about Medvedev either.
I'm going to send David 2 candy grabs. Maybe a nickname and a quick peek into his soul would help, Mr. President. And it's not just foreign affairs the president professed ignorance of, but domestic concerns as well.
What's your advice to the average American who is hurting now, facing the prospect of $4 a gallon gasoline? A lot of people facing...
Wait a minute, what did you just say? You're predicting $4 a gallon gasoline?
A number of analysts are predicting $4 a gallon gasoline this spring when they reformulate.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that.
Yet 4 minutes later, when he was asked where money for his presidential library might come from, he said this.
We just announced the deal, and I frankly have been focused elsewhere, like on gasoline prices.
He's focused on the gas prices that he doesn't know about. It's nice to see this presidency is finishing up strong.